something that I haven't really tried building before. I used to do it a lot in The Sims 3 because it was a lot. I wouldn't say it was necessarily easier to build houses like this in The Sims 3, but there was more tools to do there, so the end result looked slightly better. It was less fiddly, I guess, to put it that way. But basically, I'm building a split level house. If you don't know what that means, it's basically like if you've got a hill, you build your house into the hill, and then so from one side it might look like the house only has 2 floors, but then from the back it could look like the house has 3 floors. Which kind of the idea. I used to do it a lot in the Sims 3. The reason why it's harder to do in the Sims 4, the main reason why it's harder is, firstly, there's no constraining floor elevation sheet, so you can't change the height. You can change the height of walls, but you haven't got much flexibility over that, and you can't connect different wall heights together in the same way that you could in The Sims 3. And you don't have like the foundation tools completely different in The Sims 4 as well, which makes building like basements with like garage doors sort of a lot harder. If you played The Sims 3, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. But the result of the house in the end, it does look like a split level house, so I haven't got an issue with the way you have to do it in The Sims 4. Apart from the next problem with building split level houses is getting them to look natural or like realistic with their surroundings. So what I mean by this is, in The Sims 3, the lots that you build on wouldn't all be flat, so some of them would be uneven. So especially in the town of Bridgeport, you'd have like houses built into hills. Unfortunately, The Sims 4, all the lots, they're all flat, apart from the ones by the beach. But then the beach lots on Solani, which is the island that comes with Island Living expansion pack, you can't change the terrains on those lots, and you can't build basements or anything like that. So they're restricted in terms of what you can actually do with them, which is a shame, but you just have to work with what it is. But if you are building a split level house, like the first thing I'd recommend is build it on a lot that's like at the top of a hill or like perched by something, like by the sea. If you build, for example, a split level house in the middle of like Willow Creek, and there's loads of other just regular houses built on flat land around it, it's going to look a bit out of place because you're just going to have this hill that shouldn't really be there. And it's just, it will look a bit out of place. Whereas I built this in the Pinnacles, which is probably my favourite place to build in The Sims. And I built it, the Pinnacles are in Del Sol Valley, so it comes with the Get Famous pack. And I built it on the lot where Thorn Bailey used to live. And basically, because this lot is already like on a hilltop, building the hill up didn't look too out of place, so like it looks a bit more realistic. So but yeah, that's just one thing to bear in mind if you are trying to build a split level house. Like that would be my number one tip. And because you could build a really good split level house anywhere, but they won't look right if they're not in the right place. So definitely build somewhere on top of a hill, or maybe by like the water, wherever you can build it. But don't, for example, build a split level house in the middle of a town, because it sometimes doesn't always look like. I mean, some people might disagree, and that's fine, but that's just my advice. But yeah, just a few details about the house. It is obviously like a mansion because it's big, but it's not designed to be like a full spec'd out mansion with like bowling alleys, basketball courts, and you name it. It's just a regular modern mansion, and I themed it towards families. So the rooms are actually, there's 5 bedrooms. One of them is a master. One of them is themed as a guest bedroom. One of them is themed as a child's room. One of them is themed as a teen boys room, and the other is themed as a teen girls room. So it's perfect to move a family straight into. You might want to reconfigure the bedrooms, which is fine, you can do that. But that's just how the house is. The kitchen, living room's all open plan, but it's actually going to be 2 living rooms. One, like just as you can see, where I'm building that kitchen counter up. There's one near there, and there's also one right at the very top of the house, so you can take advantage of the views, because basically this house has got amazing views. And the idea is the front of the house is quite private looking. So you'll see I put well, I've already put them in, but those kind of like, they look like shuttering. They're like bars that go across the windows horizontally. So I've put them in, so they make it nice and private at the front. And then at the back of the house, it's just all big open windows, and like different areas that jut out, so you can get more like a 360 view rather than just a flat window. And then of course there's a pool in this house. I was going to build an outhouse. You can see sort of it developed there, but in the end, I just get rid of it because it just didn't really work with the design of the whole house. So yeah, that doesn't stay because it kind of just blocks the view too much. And I was just like, it's a big enough house as it is. Don't really need an outhouse. Like if I had more space, then I might have put one in, but it just, yeah, it wasn't working for me. So that outhouse by the pool does go. But yeah, the pool is actually nice as well. Like in this house, I use a lot of windows in it, and it's kind of like a double 2-floor pool. And the reason for that is I wanted to create like the infinity pool aspect. But yeah, because it's split level, I could also like the pool wasn't actually had to be in a basement, so I could I'm gonna call it the basement in this house. It's actually the ground floor, but the entrance to the house is on the floor above. And if you look at the house from the front, it's quite hard to see the entrance, which is a feature I was going for. If anyone's familiar with the architect Frank Lloyd Wright, a lot of his houses are designed in a way where you don't really know where the entrance is, and I really like that because it makes it a lot more private. But yeah, that's kind of how that went. But yeah, just going back to the overall layout, the downstairs is actually, the ground floor is got I think it's just got like a gym in it. It's got a movie theater. I think that's it actually. And there's like a garage as well with a jet ski in it, and a laundry room as well. So it's got like everything you need down there. Yeah, then that kind of bedrooms. The master bedroom is, I think it's on this. Yeah, the master bedroom's above like the kitchen, living room area. But most of the bedrooms are actually on the same floor as the kitchen, living room, just because it's a split level house, so you can do that. But that's kind of like why I like building split level houses, because you can make like some really cool layouts. When I was building the house as well, you'll notice I built kind of like the front of the house first, just so I could see how the split leveling was going to work. Because it's like the first time I've properly done a split level house, I didn't quite know how to get it to best look right. And then I sort of just, when I was doing the layout of the house, I sort of just built rooms how I wanted them, and then just kind of put them all together. And then at the top, I was just like, I would like a nice living room to take advantage of the views. You could make that another bedroom, so if you needed space up there for a bedroom, you could do it. But it just makes for a really nice like living room area. Another thing I've done on this house as well is where you see like the towers and stuff. Not really towers, but like especially at the front of the house there, just on the like right hand side, you've got like those squares of a half wall. And when I put the it's like it's in build mode. It's like an object that it looks like a trellis, but if you put them in there in a certain way, it kind of looks like a vent. I've done it on a few other builds, and it just kind of just adds a bit more realisticness to the house. Like that's where the air conditioning would probably go, or to keep the house ventilated. Obviously, you don't actually have to have that in The Sims, but you can, so why not? The house is also perfect if you like eco-friendly builds, because it's going to have a lot of solar panels on the roof. And there's even a hidden water filtration unit. The one which looks like a cone upside down that came with Eco Lifestyle. I actually put it in the tower where the staircase is. And yeah. And that's something actually I wanted to talk about is if you're having trouble getting the perfect layouts for your houses, especially houses that are complex like a split level house, I always recommend placing the staircase first. And the reason for that is, in pretty much all houses or buildings, the staircases are going to be stacked on top of each other. So if you find the place where you want the staircase and you stack it on top of each other, not only are you going to save a lot of space, but also it just creates a better flow, because if you're trying to get from the bottom floor and you've got like 4 floors in the house, you don't want to have to go up a staircase and walk to another room, then go up another staircase. Like that's just not how houses are built. So yeah, definitely stack the staircases one on top of each other. And I always try and place the staircase first, or at least have an idea of where I know the staircase is going to go before I start planning out the rest of the house. And usually I'll try and put it as close as I can to the front door of the house as well. And yeah, that's just a bit of advice for someone like if you're not quite sure, like if you haven't, like I'm not like an architect or anything, and I don't study architecture, but it's kind of just what I've taught myself. Is like most houses or buildings I've been in, that's kind of how they're laid out. So I kind of bring that into the Sims, and it's kind of like better for when you're actually using it for your Sims as well. It kind of eliminates how much walking they might have to do. But it's just a bit of advice because yeah, that's just how I like to build anyway. And if that helps you out, then that's great, because at the end of the day, that's why these videos are being made, is so people can get ideas, inspiration, maybe learn a few things that they didn't know before. And if it does inspire you, do learn, then please comment. Or if there's something that you think, actually, I would have done it differently, please let me know as well, because there's definitely things that could have been done differently in this house. And like hearing other people's ideas actually is really helpful. So please let me know your thoughts about the house. I'd be really appreciative. I love that table in the garden that you just saw get built there. It's just 2 3x1 tables put together, but although in the photos it just looks really cool. Like it looks like a really family place to be out there, and that's kind of the whole feel of this house. Like it's not like it could be for a celebrity. Oh, there is a bar downstairs as well, so you have got like a party space. So it could be definitely for a celebrity, but it is more in line with like a family house, and it's just a nice place to be. There's also a fish tank down there as well. I'm not quite sure why I put that in. Looking back, I mean, completely unnecessary to have a fish tank like that downstairs. It's definitely not something I think every house needs a fish tank, especially as the ones that you get in The Sims 4, they're not particularly nice fish tanks either. As you can see there, I use the windows to kind of square them up a little bit and make them look a bit less like they're out the future kind of thing. Yeah. So it's got like all the bar, kitchen-y stuff down there. And there's also actually 2 staircases in this house. And the reason for that is because I had like a square like room just running up through the entire house because that's how it fitted on the outside. And I didn't really know what to do with it, because I could have just made it toilets on each floor. But I was like, would you really want a toilet that close to your kitchen, like in some circumstances? And I was like, probably not. So I actually made it a stairwell. And the fun part about that is you can go from the bar straight to the master bedroom without actually going in the house, because the staircase runs from the first ground floor all the way up to the second floor. It doesn't go right to the top where the second living room is, but that's deliberate, because if I had made it gone to that floor, it would have just, it was firstly like it wasn't really necessary, but also it would have kind of spoiled the line of the house, so the building line as people call it. So I didn't bother putting that up there. But yeah, it fitted in there really nicely. Yeah, just building the garage here. I always put like a jet ski in the garage because you can't get cars in the game, but like it looks wrong if you don't have a garage on some houses, like especially houses this big. Like most people are gonna want a garage. Like it's fair enough if it's built in like Solani, where it's just surrounded by boats, and you probably wouldn't put a garage because realistically you're not gonna drive on a tiny island. But for the most part, houses built by the road should have some kind of garage or at least driveway. Especially on a plot of land like this size, like there's no reason to build your house right at the front of it by the road unless you want a massive back garden. But even then, proportionately, like it just looks better having a driveway, I think anyway. If you disagree, that's fine. But hopefully, like especially for new builders, hopefully this video will kind of give you a few tips on just how to build, not build better than you're building, but just give you ideas on how to maybe, if you're trying to build something and it's not going right, maybe this is the video that kind of stimulates that like thought and go, oh wait, actually if I build it like this, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, so yeah, you see the gym there. The gym has like a really cool wall on the one side, which is where the rocks are sticking through the wall. For instead of trying to rearrange the rocks, like why not just make it part of the gym? So I did that. Yeah, it's building like, the bedroom has like usual features. It's got a bathroom, it's got a walk-in wardrobe, I kind of decided to do that on all houses. Not really sure why. I think because if I had a house like I had my dream house one day, I would definitely have a walk-in wardrobe and an ensuite bathroom with a huge bath in it, and I would have a huge bed as well because I spend a lot of time in a bed. And the master bedroom actually has its own like living room area, because I thought if it's a family house, it's quite nice for the parents to have their own place to kind of watch TV, because you might have the kids downstairs, you might have people upstairs, and it just gives you that kind of privacy that you want in a family house. Then, hence why there's like 3 living rooms in the house if you include the one in the master bedroom, which I think is quite nice. Yeah, just building this up a little bit more. Put a lot of balconies on this house. Well, not all bedrooms have access to balconies, but there are quite a few balconies. One of the balconies has a hot tub on it, which is the one off the right hand side of the master bedroom. I thought that would be a good place for a hot tub. This is the second one upstairs next to the master bedroom at the moment. This is a kids room. It's got 2 kids' beds in it, because I thought A, you might have 2 kids staying in the same room, or B, if a kid has a friend over, at least there's loads of places to sleep. They want to stay there. And the kids' room actually has this like little space off to the left. It's got like fireplace and stuff. It's kind of like a study room for the kids. Building a house, and it tries to look at study room. I feel like I showed you and then here's the final photos of the house. If you enjoyed the video, recommendations for the build. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Download link for this house will be Sims 4 gallery. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.